A recent study on the state of poverty in Massachusetts showed that 1 in 4 people in the state are living in poverty, and that the poverty rate is the highest it's been since 1960. And it could be worse. The study also revealed that more than 800,000 people, including more than 150,000 children, are kept out of poverty because of public benefit programs. What can be done to alleviate this situation? What are some of the basic steps we must take to keep this problem from getting worse? To help answer this and other similar questions, we've invited Joe Diamond. He is the executive director of the Massachusetts Association for Community Action, or MASSCAP. It's an agency well-versed in fighting poverty. Also with us, Sharon Chandler, who is the Executive Vice President of Action for Boston Community Development, ABCD, which is a member agency of MASSCAP, and on the front lines in the war against poverty. Welcome to Urban Update. Thanks for coming in. Joe, let me start with you. I guess start with talking about a little bit about this study and who commissioned it and why.
Well, we worked with the Boston Foundation and with Mass Budget and Policy Center. Boston Foundation underwrote the study, and we asked them to help us to fund it because we felt it was incumbent on us as agencies that were created 50 years ago at the start of the war on poverty, and this is the 50th anniversary of that. Incumbent on us to take a really hard look and examine what's worked and build on that, and to look at poverty in Massachusetts, which is what the study did, and some of the facts that you point out are very important. But we work with Mass Budget and Policy and kind of unveiled the report at a recent symposium at the John F. Kennedy Library, and where we brought many, many people together to look at these results.
Sharon Chandler, I guess, what are some of the most surprising results that you found from this study?
I think one of the most surprising things was that more than half of folks who are in poverty or near poverty are working. I mean, that's really astonishing that people go to work every day and they just don't make enough to make ends meet, that they're struggling, that they might need a hand up. And that was one thing that we were incredibly discouraged about. And I think a lot of folks who are in those situations are discouraged that they're working 1, 2, 3 jobs just to really get by. The other thing is how many children are in poverty, and 1 in every 3 children are in poverty, and that just means that the children are our future. And so we really have to take a hard look at what the study says.
No, Joe, I guess any thoughts on that? I mean, a lot of people are probably going to be asking, how can the poverty rate be so high here in Massachusetts? Just saying highest since 1960, when all the signs are is that the economy is improving.
Well, that is the good news. The economy is improving, but this is not unique to Massachusetts. Across the country, poverty is high, and a big dynamic, or a big reason for that, is that wages have not kept up with productivity. At the beginning of the 1960s and through into about the 1970s, wages did keep up with productivity, but now that they are falling behind, people are just not making enough. The good news, though, and Sharon refers to this a little bit, is that many of the programs that were started then are working. In Massachusetts, as you noted, about 850,000 people are not poor or near poor because of programs like Head Start and fuel assistance, the Earned Income Tax Credit, Medicare and Medicaid, and food stamps. So our goal, I think, is to build on those things that work and look at what has worked and continue to move ahead with things like the minimum wage, for example.
Let's talk a little bit more about these people and these families. Who are they, and where do they tend to live?
They're our friends, our families, our neighbors. I mean, folks who are in this economic situation are living in urban communities, they're in rural communities, they're in suburban communities. They are really just like you and I, many people who have been and are in the middle class who slip into poverty or slip into hard times because someone in the family gets sick, someone loses a job. And we know, and we saw that during the recession, and as the economy is getting better, folks aren't getting the types of jobs with wages that really are livable.
Now, the study also talks about how delicate finances are for so many families, and these are the folks who really depend on the public benefit programs. Isn't that correct?
Mm-hmm. Many people that we work with work, first of all, and second of all, live paycheck to paycheck. And the public benefit programs that we noted serve a couple of purposes. One of the primary purposes is to kind of make up for the fact that wages are just not helping people to cover their costs. It's an important thing to keep in mind because we do have that imbalance. It's a structural imbalance, which we really need to try to continue to correct through.
Does the study offer any strategies for moving forward, for trying to change some of this at all?
Yeah. I mean, I think it points to a lot of the work that we're already doing, which is education and job skills training, affordable housing, appropriate health care, things that really are impeding people from getting better jobs and getting higher wages and supporting their families.
What about our elected officials? How have they gotten the message on this? What are you doing to try to get their attention? Are they getting word on this at all?
You know, I'm really pleased to say that they are. Senate President Rosenberg, in his opening address to the Senate, mentioned the challenges and need to address inequality and talked about the need to reform the earned income tax credit. The governor talked about the need to reform the earned income tax credit. And we know that now, more than ever before, there's a recognition that that huge gap between rich and poor needs to be bridged. So our message really is to talk to your elected officials about the need to address inequality, and we know that they're receptive.
I was going to say, what can an average person do? I guess call their representatives, talk to them. What advice would you give to an average person to help somehow?
I think a lot of ways, as you said, be an advocate for the people who that don't have as much of a voice, the people who need some of these services. Charitable, obviously, everyone can be charitable in giving to organizations and to families who are in need. We are fortunate in Massachusetts that our legislative and elected officials from the cities to the state to the federal government have been so supportive. Mm-hmm. But we all need to keep on it. We all need to talk a national movement.
You know, I don't mean to throw cold water on everything, but I guess we just recently heard about a projected very large budget gap, more than $700 million. What does that do? I mean, that must send shivers down your spine when you talk about some of these programs to help people.
Well, it does. And what we hope and what we'll convey to the governor and others is to just be aware that when programs like the ones that we use to help people are cut, it hurts the most vulnerable. So to keep those folks in mind as they go through this process.
Okay, and we'll have. Did you want to add one?
Well, I just wanted to say that so many of these programs are actually cost benefit, whether it's early childhood education, whether it's youth jobs. You know, they're keeping kids off the street, they're keeping kids healthy, they're helping kids learn. So I think those are the programs we have to remember, the long-term benefits that really pay off.
Okay, all right. Sharon Scott Chandler, ABCD, and Joe Diamond, MASSCAP. Thank you both for coming in, and thanks for explaining this very important study to all of our viewers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, when we return, empowering urban young adults to reach their full potential right here on Urban Update. We'll be right back.